in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone. Hi, this is Puneet here from Huric Systems. We're going to start this webinar now. And so I see we are still having some attendees joining us. So I think it's time and we're going to start and go ahead with this webinar now. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. And we've got a really interesting topic that we're going to discuss on, and it is about mobile learning, the future of workplace learning. So we all understand and we all are looking at trends where learning is moving mobile by the day. The consumption patterns are changing, and that's what we're going to discuss today. You would notice on the control panel for your webinars that there is a tab called questions. So if you have any questions during the course of the presentation, please start listing them down on that tab, and we can take those questions towards the end of the webinar. Okay. I'll just take about a minute and start this webinar. And in case I just want to have a do a real quick check if I'm audible enough. So you would see a chat panel as well on your webinar panel. If you can just acknowledge that if I'm audible, it'll be great so that we know that we are good to go. So if in the chat section you can just validate that that I'm audible enough. All right, great. So I got some confirmations here. All right, so this is where we start, and as discussed, I mean, let's just park your questions towards the end of the presentation, and we'll be happy to take them. What are we going to discuss today? We're going to take a look at why training needs to go mobile. We all are aware that there is a changing trend, and the training and development needs of every organization is changing, and you will needs to move into mobile platforms. And we're also going to talk about what are the kind of challenges in the current, how mobile apps can help you overcome those challenges. And once we've discussed all of that, we're going to talk about what an ideal mobile learning platform should allow you to do. So this is a broader boundary of our discussion today. Moving on. So what we're trying to say here is that corporate learning has transformed over the years. So it has moved from historically being a solely instructor-led training to came the era of internet-based e-learning platforms or learning management systems, and that's where it moved to a web-based kind of a training environment. And now it has moved to a point where it has become device agnostic. Consumption patterns are different. The end users want to have training delivered to the device of their choice at the time of their choice, and from an engagement point of view, the experience, the overall experience of the training delivery is also of huge importance as of date. And I mean, the way we look at it, right? So over the last 2 decades, various developments have resulted in this dramatic change. And the changing business scenario, the emergence of new technologies, they are kind of creating a very compelling reason for organizations to adopt new methods to equip their staff with the needed knowledge and skills. Sorry for the abrupt pause here because I'm getting a couple of updates from our attendees that the voice is not too clear. So I'm just going to make a few quick changes and maybe move away from the speaker that I was using. So yeah, so we were at the point where we were talking about corporate training has transformed over the years, and there is a definitive need to look at and evaluate our strategies in terms of how learners behave today from a corporate learning perspective. So moving on to the next slide. So the takeaway here is that the training has moved from a solely instructor-led kind of environment to web-based, and now it has become device agnostic, where learners expect the training content to be delivered device of their choice and at the time of their choice. So just looking at some more data here to validate our understanding and to form a decent ground in terms of believing that yes, we are now in a phase where mobile learning is kind of inevitable. So if you look at various industry reports, you would figure that there has been a staggering 42% increase in the smartphone users globally. Another report from Gartner states that about 70% of the professionals within corporations will be conducting their work on personal smart devices by the year 2018. This is a huge percentage of people that you can expect to start using smart devices. About 10 billion personal mobile devices to be in use by 2020. So these are very interesting numbers, and they also kind of point towards the need for a mobile learning platform that can adapt to the changing requirements of the end users. We are already have the generation of bring your own devices employees across various organizations now. And then about 50% of the digital media consumption on mobile devices is the kind of time that is spent on mobile devices. So all in all, the workforce is increasingly going mobile and is increasingly consuming more digital media. Hence, the pressure on learning and development functions and the training professionals globally to adopt a platform that can help them support these needs. Now, how does it actually help? So, why do mobile apps or mobile learning platforms help, and how can they actually help, and what are the kind of USPs and add-ons that they bring in, right? So, obviously, you get access to a set of devices, a set of platforms where you can distribute your content on. So the content can be, if you go mobile, you can deliver content on smartphones. You can deliver them across platforms like iOS or Android or your desktop or PC and Mac kind of platforms. So the reach of your content kind of increases. You also are kind of taking the engagement levels to the next level, because all these kind of platforms, or most of them, so to say, are able to give you a one-to-one kind of an engagement platform with each learner. You can bring in social collaboration kind of features in such platforms, where the learner is able to interact with their instructor on a one-to-one basis on a piece of content or a training manual. Now analytics is obviously a very important part of it, and most of the L&D heads or training managers that we interact with, one of the key things that they do highlight in all our discussions is that we spend X million dollars in training our employees yearly, but we don't know if it has an ROI. We don't know if it really had an impact or not. I mean, you obviously do assessments, but assessments do not guarantee that knowledge got registered or that content was referred to in scenarios where it was supposed to. So these kind of mobile learning platforms can also help you track analytics to a great extent, and you can in a way find your effectiveness of your training in a much better and now obviously this is all done with the help of creating mobile ready content and being able to distribute it Now, another very important thing is that in a typical classroom setup, you're addressing the whole group as a whole, right? As one. Mobile an avenue to create different kind of learner profiles, uh, address each learner within a group differently, provide different content to people within the same group, and then be able to track that consumption of that content. So all in all, a mobile learning platform mitigates all the challenges that you know an as-on date L&D head or training manager faces, and plus obviously gives them avenues to track uh, consumption of their content while being able to engage learners at a personal level and being able to cover all devices and platforms. Organizations also benefit from mLearning because it allows them to achieve performance enablement. So user experience is obviously really key, and we've been talking about the changing consumption patterns of the learners today. So it really matters that the user experience is consistent across devices. So that's something that mobile learning platforms can offer. You have to reach the targeted audience, and you can do that. So like I mentioned in the previous slide, that you may want to give behavioral skills kind of training to a certain set of employees, and then want to do a professional training for other set of employees. You can do that in a very targeted way. You can ensure that the distribution of content is based upon the actual need a set of audience. Now, engagement levels, we spoke about engagement levels in the previous slide, and that's where personal learning kind of walks in. Being able to provide individual attention to each learner in a classroom environment, again, it kind of becomes really difficult to give individual attention to each of them. Even if you look at web-based training mechanisms that are being used in the form of learning management systems, etc., as on date, there is no personal attention that usually goes to an individual learner. But through a mobile learning platform, you can engage and possibly create personal learning agents for each of your learners. You have complete control of your content. That's another very important aspect, and you can typically pull or push training content across your users and devices. So you maybe want one training to be available to a set of users for 6 months, so that can be made available, and you can have a deadline, a timeline, decide a boundary, and post 6 months you can just pull that content out through the platform. Similarly, you can push additional content, you can push updates to a certain training manual. So a mobile learning platform typically allows you to do that. Another very important feature is, it allows collaboration between a set of users. So to put it simply, for example, if we are a group of 10 people and we are looking at this presentation, and this presentation is available to all of us through a mobile app on our devices, I can typically just log into the app, open this presentation, highlight a certain section, which maybe I don't understand pretty well, put a question around it, and tag my instructor and post that question to my instructor. My instructor in real time can respond back to my question, and we can essentially enable collaboration across this set of group, 10 users who are part of that group. So basically, you're not limiting learning to a classroom environment or to a certain time during the day. It can happen anytime. It can happen on weekends. It can happen after office hours. So it can typically happen anytime, because mobile learning platforms can help you collaborate, right? Now, obviously, we're talking about mobile learning, so we want to ensure there's connectivity all the time. However, a mobile learning platform that is state-of-the-art and is an industry-leading platform should be able to provide you offline access through your native apps. So what it typically means is that you need internet access to log into the platform or log into your app, and then B, to just download the content that has been assigned to you. Once that content has been downloaded, it is stored locally, and then you do not need internet access to be able to access that content. So you enable offline access for that content. And then whenever there is internet connectivity, it can sync to all other devices. So something that organizations can benefit from while using such mobile learning platforms. Obviously, I mean, this is also something that we just spoke about. It's the device of their choice at the time of their. So that's these are the three uh, that we a mobile learning platform we opportunities to do all the three. All right, so what should an ideal mobile learning platform do? So what should be the features of an ideal mobile learning platform, and how can it typically enable organizations to deliver training content on mobile devices? So we're going to talk about key features that a mobile learning platform should have, and these could also be features that each of you would want to evaluate every platform on, and do a validation before you go ahead and make a choice to select any such platform. So first thing, right, we spoke about engagement, act as an individual personal learning agent to the end user. Such platform should be able to drive learner engagement using enrichment on your. Obviously, I mean, we all have training manuals that we've been using for ages now, and we've been using for thousands of trainings that we've done. However, because we spoke about content consumption patterns, and we also spoke about how what are the changing needs of our learners today, any such platform should give you an opportunity to enrich your existing content, right? So, for example, you should be able to add multimedia to your content. So if you have a presentation, it has an image inside that presentation, and you have that particular topic, the platform should let you add that video on that particular piece of information or on that page, and add much more multimedia in terms of your assessments, and you basically need to turn your static content into enriched, into what that any platform should have levels across all your users. Now, you should easily be able to create, mobile optimized training content. It's important that you're able to author digital content from scratch, which can be rendered across various devices. So, for example, for mobile, this should be a responsive, so basically ensuring ease of reading to the end users. So, all in all, in summary, any such platform should be able to enrich your legacy content. Right. Now, another important point, we spoke about collaboration and social sharing. Like we said, that you don't want to limit your learning, and you don't want to limit the training to a classroom environment. Learning can happen at any point in time, and irrespective of if you are in a training session or not. So whatever platforms that you look at and you want to evaluate, you should definitely look for a feature that lets you collaborate, that lets your users collaborate. I spoke about offline, capabilities of, such platforms. What happens if, one of your users creates some kind of annotation on the book? So if you, for example, make a highlight in an offline mode, and when you close the app and, you again on again through another device, not from the previous device that you choose, should be able to give you across all devices for users to ensure that none of the user-generated content is ever lost. Offline mode, that user-generated content can typically get stored locally. It can to sync automatically with the architecture of that, but then be available across all devices. This is typically when user may have a smart. They might consume a training program on an iPad for 2 hours in the day, and then they go out and they probably want to refer device or through a smartphone. Unity needs to ensure that none of the user-generated content is ever lost, and it's made available across all devices. Um, so that's another important thing here. And then we spoke about these kind of tools to analyze the effectiveness of your training, to analyze and bring in more insights. Is being accepted? Is it being liked? Is it being not liked? So typically, you should be able to get those analytics as an administrator or as an L&D head. Now, we typically deal with two kinds of corporates for such solutions whenever we are in discussions. So there is a set of corporates, and which is the majority of them, who have a learning management system already deployed in their environment, and they're definitely looking for mobile learning platforms, but they also part their investment system. So any such platform that you look for should be able to integrate seamlessly with the existing learning management system. So typically also any assessments or any analytics data that you have on the should the platform should allow you to pass that data back to the learning management system to perform even advanced analytics. So therefore, to ensure that the learners, all your investments are safeguarded. Plus, you've also gone mobile, so experience, you're able to offer a platform to your end users that the system cannot really match. Obviously, I mean, if you have analytics, you're able to extract precise ROI from all your training. 100%, but it brings you quite close to understanding how your content is being consumed, and to figure out if the content that you've created is working, is it been accepted by the users, how much time are they spending on it, how many reading sessions, what is the time per reading session, have they made any notes on that particular book, have they made any annotations. If you had enriched the book and you had included resources or multimedia in the book, you should be able to track if all that multimedia was opened, how much time was spent on those videos and audios, and so on and so forth. So a good mobile learning platform should be able to offer you that. Now, obviously, if you have analytics, you know exactly which content is performing better, and that kind of path, carves out a path for you for creation of new training content, because you now exactly know what works and what kind of content keeps your employees engaged. Right. So another very important and a very important feature from a branding perspective. So any such mobile learning platform that you look for should be able to offer you a white label solution, basically saying that your end users would go ahead and still use your branded reader apps across devices and your branded solution, and they would not follow any industry specific kind of product. So I mean, all the corporates that we speak to, 10 out of 10 have this requirement on their mind, and they want to ensure that their brand equity and their brand value is kind of maintained. Typically be using their branded reader apps. So if you notice on the screen here, you would see a VMware app, for example. So this is for demonstration purpose, but that's how typically the backbone of this app or this reader or this platform is our platform that we've white labeled it with their branding and their theming. So the end users in VMware are using their company readers and their company platform, and not referring to the technology that we've provided to them. So providing an enterprise level white label solution is also pretty key to any such offering. All right, so I'm going to talk about our product called Kitabu here, and I want to put some stress in terms of what we've done through Kitabu and the kind of organizations we've worked in the past, and what is it exactly that the product really offers. To start with, all the key features that we spoke about from a mobile learning platform perspective is something that Kitabu offers. In fact, offers much more than what we spoke about, because we spoke about certain key features, and Kitabu is able to offer those key features along with many more features as part of the product platform. Now, Kitabu has been in existence for a little over 4.5 years now, and we started working with the global publishing industry. The Kitabu was typically made with a perspective to address the ebook needs and the ebook platform needs of the publishing industry globally. We ended up acquiring a lot of customers across the publishing world with some of the really large names, and if you look at the top 10 publishing companies in the world, we work with more than 50% of them, and they use our technology for their ebook platforms. However, in the last 2 years, we realized the changing trends across the learning and development functions in corporations, and we figured that Kitabu is a perfect fit for them, because it is a platform that lets you, in summary, I mean, if you were to look at it at a very high level, you can take all your content, put it on Kitabu, enrich it with multimedia and interactivities, distribute it to your end users across various platforms. It is a white label solution. So your end users, from a consumption perspective, can just go ahead and download your white label reader apps across iOS, Android, PC engines. So it's across all Windows tablets for that matter. And user generate highlights and what's feedback, all the get group and items. You can part of a training. You may, which is right, that training program is our platform lets you just upload that video and pass on that piece of manual or not. Interesting features that we are now coming up and we should be launching very soon is you let the user take a printout or maybe save all their annotations. I make 5 highlights and 10 notes in a PPT that has been assigned to me. I can just select those annotations that I've created for them. So basically ensure I have complete access to that book at all points in time. And then there are many other features in terms of connect, and you can have various kind of content associated with that topic, and that can go and sit as a category in the user's bookshelf. They click on that category, it gives them a drill down of whatever content is available as part of that category. Now, like I said, we realize that corporates, are kind of moving into mobile learning, and it's the right time to reach out to them. In that journey, in that process, we've managed to acquire some really large names across various verticals globally as customers. They are using Kitabu for their global. There are organizations that are also looking at Kitabu from their internal communication needs. Then there are organizations that are looking at Kitabu for sending newsletters across to their employees and to their end customers. So they use this platform, upload the newsletter, enrich it, distributed to 200,000 employees globally, and all the employees are now consuming that content. Now, there are case studies when customers come back to us and tell us that when we did these kind of initiatives, historically we had no idea if our employees even went through that newsletter or even had a look at that piece of content. Because of Kitabu, we can now trace back every content consumption pattern seamlessly, and we know exactly if what we've sent to our employees is being accepted or is being read. So that's what Kitabu typically offers. So it's an end-to-end platform that lets you take your learning and development and training functions and make them completely mobile. It has seamless integration with industry learning management systems. So we've got case studies of doing integrations with Moodle, right, Upside, Cornerstone, and many other industry leading learning management systems. So any LMS that's LTI compliant, it's pretty straightforward and seamless integration from a Kitabu standpoint. So we are very excited in this journey, and we think that is the right time to bring Kitabu to the corporate world, and we very strongly believe that it addresses the mobile learning needs of all corporations, and sooner or later that we're going to have a good amount of corporations on our platform. We already have quite a few of them, and we have aggressive inquiries coming in to discuss Kitabu. I'm kind of reaching the end of this webinar, so I just hope that we've managed to cover everything important that we had to discuss here. So the key takeaways from our discussion today is that we know that we spoke about increase in mobile devices, we spoke about the changing consumption patterns. So mobile learning is going to stay here for a long time. This is the new thing, this is the in thing, and it's going to remain for a longer period of time than we can anticipate probably. So organizations and corporations should kind of leverage this easy availability and affordability of mobile devices. It's really important that corporations and training managers understand the need to reach out to this mode of communication and learning and development. And obviously, I mean, because there are so many mobile devices available now, it's obviously a good idea to leverage that, right? So everybody is carrying a smartphone. Why don't we leverage that and kind of increase our reach across our employees? Again, we spoke about the changing consumption patterns, and learners today are self-driven. So to engage them, it is important that the content that you give them is engaging, and then it's also important that they're able to access that content on the device of their choice and at the time of their choice. Again, you should be able to deliver across all devices so that your utilization numbers, your utilization percentages are increasing all the time, and your training content is being seamlessly utilized across all devices. Again, HTML5 is the need of the hour. So any content that you create has to be HTML5 compliant so that it can become device agnostic and can be played across any kind of device. Obviously, offline content consumption is also very important, so you need native devices, native apps for your devices. So choose a technology or a partner that can kind of give you that kind of a solution so that you can utilize the offline content delivery angle of any such platform. So basically that's it from my side. We've tried to keep it short, and we've tried to kind of cover it in a 30 to 40 minute kind of a window so that we can have some time to take questions. And so I'm happy to take any questions that you may have now so that we can address any queries. So you can notice question panel on your webinar GoToWebinar panel. So I think there are some questions that are coming in. Let me just quickly go through them. Okay, so the first question that I've got is, do you have a list of compatible platforms for Kitabu? Right, so Kitabu by itself is
an end-to-end platform. So it's a cloud platform that gives you three interfaces primarily. So it gives you an interface where you can go ahead and author your content. So you can take existing content, put it into the creation platform, add interactive stuff to it. So the creation platform by itself gives you markup opportunities where you can add interactivities and multimedia to that piece of content. And then you can just go ahead and publish it. The moment that is published, it is now an interactive ebook or interactive content which is ready to get distributed. The second piece is basically distribution, which is typically replaced by learning management systems. Now, if it is about compatibility with learning management systems, we are compatible with almost all of them. If the LMS is LTI compliant, it's pretty straightforward. If it is not LTI compliant, then we have to do some workarounds, but we can still do integrations there, right? So the distribution is where you use your learning management system, manage all your courses, manage all your users, do your rostering, do your content management and user management on the LMS, and allocation of all the content through your learning management system. The third piece is where consumption takes place. So we give you your white label reader apps across all platforms. So your end users typically just download the app, install it on their device, log in with the username password that you've given them through the learning management system. So we enable a single sign-on for you. So they use the same username and password, nothing changes for them. However, when they launch the content, when they launch the book, it launches in the Kitabu readers. So basically that's what the platform really is. And if you've got already existing components in your infrastructure like a learning management system, we tie in the platform with your learning management system, and that's how the integration kind of works. Apart from that, we are compatible across any organization. It's a cloud-based platform, so it doesn't matter if you're too heavily invested in Microsoft or something else. It doesn't really matter because it has nothing to do with your internal systems, so to say, apart from a learning management system. I just hope that answers the question here. Right. Okay, so I've just received a response. Yes, it does answer. Thank you so much. Any other questions? All right, so I've got another question. Which are the corporates that we already work with? Although I would have loved to share some names, but we do have confidentiality agreements. I would not be able to share names, but I can tell you that one of the top 5 retail chains in the US is a customer to us. They've got about 2,500 odd retail stores across the US. They're about a $37 billion organization with about 200,000, 225,000 employees globally. They use Kitabu for their mobile learning capabilities. So that's one of our customers. I gave you an example of VMware already. So we have permission from them to share their name. So VMware is using it for their sales teams. So their sales teams typically carry all the sales support material in terms of brochures or case studies or presentations within the Kitabu app, and they use the Kitabu platform to perform all their sales activities and refer to all their sales material. Apart from that, we're talking to a couple of really large banking organizations, and they've got a global footprint as well, and they are pretty keen to look at Kitabu and kind of deploy them within their infrastructure. Yeah, so there are multiple IT companies, multiple banking organizations, and retail chains that we are in touch with already, and we are working with them. Okay, so I have another question here. Is it possible to have a copy of the presentation or recording? Yes. So what we're going to do after we are done with this webinar, we're going to my team will send you the presentation as well as a recording of this webinar. We've recorded it from start till end. Obviously, we had a little bit of hiccup after the initial 2 minutes when the sound was not too clear. So we'll try if we can remove that from the recording. In case we're not able to do that, we'll still send you, send you the complete recording and the presentation. Right. So yes. So another question is that how do we, kind of contact you? So you would notice that you've got when we share the presentation with you, you would be able to drop us a note at kitabu@hurix.com. Or you can refer to our website for our contact details, and the best way to reach out to us is kitabu@ hurix.com, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with whatever you need. I am pretty sure in my mind that, once you look at the platform in detail, once you look at, a demo in detail, you'll be pretty convinced about its capabilities and what the kind of transformation it can bring into your training organization or your learning and development functions. All right, I think we're done with the questions here. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. And it was a pleasure to, present this webinar to all of you. And we sincerely hope that you will give us an opportunity to explore Kitabu for your organization. Feel free to drop an email, feel free to write into us, and we'll be very happy to take you through the complete platform and give you a detailed demo. And we just hope that, you're in your quest for finding a good mobile learning platform, Kitabu finds a place, and we're able to work with you in the future. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you very much for your time. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.